Hello, vinyl community. It's Bill here again, and I'm slightly ahead of schedule because I'm going to do the quarter four acquisitions and divestments. And it's just the 20th of December. So essentially, there could be 11 more days of acquiring records, but I've done quite well this quarter, so I think I'll hold off until 2025, how the time goes. So, first of all, I'm going to show two books that kind of introduce the first record that I'm going to show. So, I think earlier this year, maybe end of last year, I read The Life and Times of Malcolm McLaren by Paul Gorman. Great tome, this. I think how many pages we got? About 800 pages about the life and times of Malcolm McLaren. So covers Sex Pistols, New York Dolls, uh, Waltz Darling, and a record I'm about to show. And then the other related related book, which I'm just maybe an eighth of the way through. A great book by Joe Boyd. I think he said it took him 17 years to write this, although he was doing other things in between. But yeah, you'll recognize the book title from Paul Simon track, but it's And the Roots of Rhythm Remain, a journey through global music, and it's by Joe Boyd, that great producer. So the very first sentence in the first chapter reads, Malcolm McLaren was bored. So, so this is the Malcolm McLaren album that I want to speak about today. So I bought this via Discogs. I've been looking for it for a while, I think since reading the Paul Gorman book. But yeah, this is Duck Rock, and it's got sort of Zulu chants and also sort of Appalachian square dancing, etc. And what's that itch? I must scratch it. So there's scratching in here, and yeah, this is ahead of its time because I think it was following a conversation between Malcolm McLaren and Paul Simon that Graceland as a concept came about. So I think Malcolm beat him to it by a couple of years. I think the Graceland is a more, well, I was going to say a more musical, revolutionary sort of timepiece. But yeah, this was revolutionary at the time. So yeah, I quite like the album art as well. So this has got Buffalo Gals in it and Double Dutch. But yeah, just a great album, sort of inspired by world music. And I think Malcolm used to go into, I think, a record library or maybe just a normal library and ask for records that were maybe like the Library of Congress or something like that. But yeah, had all these sort of African chant music and Cuban music, and yeah, so I think he was secretly fancying the librarian, maybe it being a library in France, and that got him on the sort of world music journey. So yeah, it's a great book, very in depth. I've read a couple of, well, I'm still in the second chapter, which is about Cuban music. And yeah, you get a lot of the background to the politics. And the same was chapter one, which was about South African music. And you get a lot of information about tribal rivalries and record companies in Johannesburg and yeah, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, highly recommended book. But let's get on to the things that really matter to the vinyl community. Some more vinyl. So this is one I picked up, I think, just for a couple of pounds in Gold Star Records in Aberdeen. And this is a great album. I think it was in the £2 album section. It was great. Bunny Berrigan, and lots of songs recorded between February 32 and February 1937. So I think Artie Shaw's one of the bands on this, but yeah, really good early jazz album. Then, same shop, I managed to pick up Gomez How We Operate. I think this was one of the first released on vinyl. So the original version of How We Operate would have been CD only. It's a really nice gatefold. Members of the band. Quite like the artwork too, although I prefer the artwork on the other Gomez albums. So much so that I think inspired me to do my own version of a Gomez cover. And for all fellow Scots music lovers, you can't beat Andy Stewart. And this is 20 golden Scottish favourites. And the ones that I wanted were a Scottish Soldier, which was one of my dad's favourites, and then Donald Farser Trousers and Campbellton Loch. So I got this in the Oxfam shop on Byers Road in Glasgow. I had to get this. This is not the one that I originally spotted. I was on holiday in Malaga and Granada in the south of Spain, and we were going for dinner in a restaurant in the town centre of Malaga. And I said to my wife and my sister-in-law, I haven't seen any vinyl shops. And then lo and behold, right next door to the restaurant it was a mixture of secondhand books and secondhand vinyl. And the very first bin I looked in, very first record, was Andy Stewart. And I think it was 20 or the best of Andy Stewart. I think there are 20 tracks on it anyway. But I didn't want to transport a vinyl record all the way back from Spain. So, but it was then on my want list. So, yeah, he's. I don't know if you're familiar with Donald Farser Trousers, but he does a bit of an Elvis impersonation on it as well, which is great. And when I got back to Aberdeen, I went to Gold Star Records and my friend Ruben there, and I did ask if he had any Andy Stewart records. And he said, no, I think I've got plenty of the Alexander Brothers and Jimmy Shand. And I thought, not so sure. Uh, and then he said, hold on. And he went in the back and he pulled out this one. And I got this for free. Harry Gordon. Harry Gordon was a comedian and music hall act. In fact, we've got a music venue in Aberdeen called The Music Hall, and he's got a blue plaque on the side, his Harry Gordon. This is recordings are made during the 1920s. The oldest Aberdonian, and this speaks about different parts of Aberdeen, Fitty folk, Kitty folk, folk from Constitution Street, folk from Rudeslaw Den. And in the final verse, it speaks about folk from Pursley, which is where I used to live. So it was great to pick this one up. It's got a bit of, there's a cafe on the beachfront at Aberdeen called Inversnecky, but Inversnecky, I think, was a place in Aberdeenshire. I think there are road signs pointing to it, but I'm not sure if it's a kind of a made up place as well to suit some of the stories. But the last track is called the Inversnecky Fireman, and it's like a phone call to the fire station, and they're saying, no, we can't come along to the fire because it's Wednesday afternoon and it's our half day. So maybe if you've got some kindling, you can keep the fire going until Thursday morning. Bizarre. But it was free. So anybody knows archetypal Aberdonians, we're always looking for a bargain. And this was a bargain too. This is the £2 section. And this is the Roaring Twenties, Eddie Condon and his All-Stars. But it says Eddie Condon and his All-Stars recapture the Roaring Twenties. So I think these are all recorded in 1957. Now, strange that somebody should complain about the quality of the record. So some of the other records, that Bunny Brannigan one, you can almost hear the crackle of the original 78 that they've then, you know, used for their master for some of these compilations. But this one, the sound is really clean. So to my ear, it doesn't sound as authentic as the ones that were recorded earlier. But yeah, this has got St. James's Infirmary on it, and Wolverine Blues, and What You Call 'Em Blues, the Heebie-Jeebies. So it's a very nice sort of mid-50s recording of songs from the Roaring Twenties. Then, you know, I'm a great blues fan, so this is on the Charlie record label, and this is called Came Down from Memphis. And this has got a few different people well, two that I know. Rufus Thomas, who did Hound Dog, and he also did Bearcat, which is on this album too. So it's a similar call and response song. But there's also Little Milton, If You Love Me. But there's Dr. Ross, Willie Nix, James Cotton, Sammy Lewis, Jimmy DeBerry. So really nice compilation of blues from the Sun label. And as I think I've said in a few Vinyl Community videos, yeah, Sam Phillips from Sun Studios recorded a lot of Black American blues tunes because he absolutely loved the genre, loved the artists, etc. Before Elvis came by his record studio and wanted to record. You'll remember Storm Bert, or was it Storm Bart, from a few weeks ago? Well, I had an essential journey to do. So we had to go from Aberdeen to Glasgow because of a cat show that my wife, my daughter, and her fiance wanted to attend. And I looked at the weather maps, etc., and I thought, oh, we're okay. We're skirting round the outside of it. Yeah, we took 5 hours, 2 hours more than normal to get from Aberdeen to Glasgow. And yeah, we were stuck by some snow around Perth as well. So yeah, so we got to Glasgow. They went to the cat show. I didn't go because I'm asthmatic and I would have been allergic to the cat hairs, etc. So, ideal opportunity to go record hunting. So, I went to Bowers Road in Glasgow, and as I've already said, I picked up the Andy Stewart record in that Oxfam shop. And I also found another one just off of Bowers Road, a real Aladdin's Cave. I can't remember the name of the shop, but you have to squash between the rows of records, and yeah, they're not neatly laid out, so it is uh, extreme crate digging. You know, you have to really go sideways along some of the narrow corridors between all these boxes of records. But I managed to pick up a couple of really good double albums from the Jazz Tribune series. I've shown one of these in the past, but this is the wonderful Cab Calloway. And I think we've also got his wife singing on this as well. So really good liner notes. You get details of all the dates of the recordings and the personnel in the band as well. So yeah, Blanche Calloway and her Joy Boys are on this compilation, as well as Cab Calloway and his Cab Jivers. And then there's Billy Banks. So yeah, which one track would you expect to find on a Cab Calloway? Yeah, Minnie the Moocher is on here. Two versions. So great. And then there's what else? The Scat Song 1 and the Scat Song 2. I learned about love from her. So this is great. And in the same section, I was able to find Fats Waller piano solos. Some nice photographs of Fats Waller. So yeah, great pianist. We've got Ain't Misbehavin', we've got E flat blues, St. Louis blues, Valentine Stomp, Stardust, the Hoagie Carmichael and Mitchell Parish penned song, but I think this is just the instrumental version of it. And Georgia on My Mind, which is another Hoagie Carmichael, and Rocking Chair, another Hoagie Carmichael. So a really nice piano, bluesy, stride piano uh, songs, and yeah, wonderful. Yeah, can't get enough of it really. And then we have really good jazz, so slightly later era than the Cab Calloway and the Fats Waller, but this is recorded in the mid 1950s, I think. And we've got Art Blakey Quintet, A Night at Birdland. You can read all the artists, all the musicians that are on this, but yeah, A Night in Tunisia is one of the big tunes on this, as well as Quicksilver and Wee Dot. Nice photos of the band at the bottom of the cover as well. One more. Really nice compilation. And this is without the Beatles. So you can see this is on CD, but this is fabulous. And you can see that the cover pays homage to the With the Beatles vinyl album. But this is great. We've got Roll Over Beethoven by Chuck Berry. So it's all songs that have been covered by the Beatles, but the original versions. So Twist and Shout by the Isley Brothers, Taste of Honey by Lenny Welch, uh, Mr. Moonlight by Dr. Feelgood and the Interns, but not the Dr. Feelgood down by the jetty. And I didn't know that, what's the song? Till There Was You by Peggy Lee. I thought that was a Beatles original. And we've also got Keep Your Hands Off My Baby. That'll Be the Day. Kansas City, Hey, Hey, Hey. And Sheila. And Please Mr. Postman by the Marvelettes. So really good. Barrett Strong's version of Money, That's What I Want. Boys by the Shirelles. So I doubt if you'll be able to read it, but sorry for the glare. Uh, and yes, instead of John Paul, George and Ringo on the front, we've got Chuck Berry, Buddy Holly, Little Richard, and Carl Perkins, I think. So these are all the acquisitions in Q4 2024. Have a wonderful Christmas and Hogmanay and New Year's Day. And I'll probably see you in early 2025 to do the vinyl tag. But have I seen some vinyl tags labeled Vinyl Tag 2025 already? Somebody's jumped the gun. Right. But that's all from me, and see you again soon. Bye.